Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Always a pleasure to welcome Amy Miller from Ohio Means Jobs. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Well, we're starting off a brand new year and officially closing out a decade, although I know a lot of people are saying starting a new decade, but we're closing out a 10-year period.
Yeah.
But it's still cool, 2020, and, it's just a fun year to say.
It is.
And lots of new things as far as job opportunities for folks who are wanting to make that change as we clicked over into a new year as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are not sure what they want to do or if they're happy with what they're doing. And there's lots of different things that you can do. And this is a great time. It's one of the busiest hiring times of the year. People don't think that.
Oh, no. Yeah. Why is that? January.
Well, January, because companies have their budget for the year.
Oh, hot diggity.
Hot diggity.
Yes.
They're like, woohoo, it's hiring time.
Yeah.
So they have the opportunity now to hire. So all throughout the month of December, they've been finding out what positions are going to be able to hire for. And so they're doing some things that are really important as they're getting ready to hire. And now, it's the time. So there are a lot of things that job seekers can do to make sure that they are ready to go to respond to those openings.
What are those things?
Okay, so first, you want to do a resume review. So you want to make sure that if you have a resume, that it's a good one and it's getting you interviews or getting people talking to you. Because remember, if you're sending out 50 resumes and you're hearing nothing,
something's wrong with the resume. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So make sure that you take some time to go over it. And if you're not sure, okay, wait a minute, I think it's good. Maybe I need another pair of eyes. That's what Ohio Means Jobs is for, because you can do that for free. You can come into the center and have your resume reviewed. So make sure it's really what you want. It's saying what you want, and it's directed to the job that you're applying for.
Before we come into you and we want to look it over, so we're at least bringing you our best possible effort before we put your eyes on it, what should be in a good resume?
Maybe it's easier to say what shouldn't be.
Okay, what should not? That's what I meant. What should not be on that resume, Amy?
Well, some things that have changed are the objective. That's something that used to always be on the top of your resume.
Who cares?
Yeah, so generic.
Your objective is you want a job.
Yeah, exactly. I want a job to grow and have opportunities in the future.
Yeah.
Nice,
okay.
Thanks.
Good for you.
Moving on. So, resumes now have what's called a skills summary or career summary. Both of these terms are available to use and both make a lot of sense. So in your career summary, you're talking about you. What have you accomplished? Who you actually are. It's 2 or 3 sentences. We're not talking about a book here, folks. We're not filling up half the page of your resume, but just giving a good summary of the highs of your career, who you are and the highs of your career that you could then bring to this new company. So that's really important.
Okay.
Another thing that's really important is a skills section. So making sure that you're emphasizing the skills that you have and not being generic. One of the easiest things for people to do is say, I have great communication skills. I have great time management skills. I'm very organized. Again, that's nice. Prove it. Have, a little bit more detail.
How would I say that better?
So, okay, you have great time management skills. Haven't missed work in X amount of time.
Yes.
Able to run meetings on a daily basis in a timely manner. It's things like that. Things that are activities that you did that show the particular skill that you're talking about.
Some of these things, though, just seem like that sounds like just going to work. I actually know somebody who recently had their evaluation, and they were going on and on and on about how awesome this person was because he was always on time and he always did his work. And he said, so like basically being a grown-up. And but so is that rare nowadays to find somebody who never misses a day and that's rare?
Yeah, it is rare. Someone who really puts value on work.
Yes.
We all have different values, and that's okay. It's absolutely fine for somebody to have different types of values in the workplace. But when an employer's focus is making sure that the work is getting done, that the person is doing their job, and that the customers, whatever fashion those are, is happy, then having somebody who's consistent, who's always there, Yeah, that means a lot.
So to say that you've got good communication skills then would be list some times when you were required to use communication skills on the workplace and some results from that.
Right, right. Again,
Okay.
that being more detailed. So then you also need to have that work history section. Remember, with your work history, you don't want to go any further back than 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
So, and then some highlights of what you did in that job. So, what your responsibilities were and the highlights of what you accomplished during that job. That's where you're putting your day to day, what that looked like. And just maybe a big project that you had, that you were very successful at. Having that information, it's still important then to have your education on there. But do remember that you don't have to put the year that you graduated.
Thank you, because if you're only going back 10 to 15 years in that work history and your graduation year was far beyond that,
Right.
that kind of signals to people that you might be in an age group that they're not interested in hiring, and yet they could be missing out on somebody who's energetic and a real go-getter.
That's so true. That's so true. People don't realize that they're no matter what age you are, you have skills and things to offer. Someone who is of Gen X and baby boomers and even traditionalists are still in the workforce.
Yes.
Those folks have so much experience, so much knowledge, and they have a killer work ethic.
Yeah.
So, making sure that you're not giving an employer the opportunity to say, yeah.
You graduated when?
No, I'm not interested.
Did they have
in that.
schools back then?
Now,
Yes.
for some new college grads, who are just getting out in the work world, it's okay for them because that shows the employer, okay, they have a degree, they don't have much experience. This is why they don't have much experience.
Yes.
So remember, there's always exceptions to every rule, but the vast majority of people, as you're doing your resume, don't have that year on there for your education.
And for the person who's just graduating, you can beef up your experience by internships. Yes, those are very valuable. Yes.
Oh, huge. Internships and volunteering. These are both so important and so give you skills, give you opportunities, things that you may not have done before, and connections. And that's really the other thing as we're talking about, moving forward and hiring is networking. That you've had the holidays. So guys, you've been out, you've seen family, you've gone to parties, maybe you've done something at your church, maybe you've done something at a community center, whatever it might be, you've talked to people. So this is a great time to say, you know what, I reconnected with Susie. I think I'm going to give her a call and see if she knows about any opportunities. This is when you want to take advantage of it. Because remember, even though there's lots of hiring opportunities, the vast majority of job opportunities are not advertised.
No.
Yeah.
And those family parties are also when you get asked, hey, would you be interested in doing this again?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you feel like you're being recruited, you are.
Yeah. And that's not a bad thing.
No, right.
And when you were at those holiday parties, you did have a chance to say, hey, I'm looking for something. You may talk to somebody who said, oh, yeah, give me a call after the first of the year. So step back. Remember who you made connections with. Remember who you talked to. And think about, okay, I want to get back in touch with them. Really let them know that I am interested and see if they are aware of things that might be a good fit for me.
I love that you mentioned volunteering because you really are getting to work side by side with people, and it's not for any ulterior purpose.
Yeah.
They're seeing you actually put your heart into something with a common goal. You're working together side by side. They see you in action. And you're really auditioning without realizing it. And on the other side, if you're hiring people, you're really getting to see people in action without putting them on the spot or in any kind of a threatening situation. Volunteering seems like a great way to both get jobs and find job seekers. It's a great networking opportunity.
It's absolutely true. It's such a great chance to just make connections, and you're giving something back to the community.
Right.
I mean, and people like to see that on a resume. Makes a difference.
Something gets done.
Yeah.
What jobs are in demand right now?
Oh boy, healthcare is just huge, huge, huge. Advanced manufacturing, huge, huge, huge. We're also seeing still retail. You wouldn't think at this time of year.
Retail?
You're like, wait a minute, hold
Really?
on. So it just depends on the places that you're looking at. We have in Stark County a lot of different opportunities around retail. So,
Like what?
well, like everything at the mall. Goodness gracious. There's
Do people go to the mall?
not as much as they used to. But, think about this, though, Susie. People aren't there as much, and people aren't working there as much. So there are jobs there.
Oh.
And a lot of the Christmas help that's been hired, if you've done a great job, they're probably keeping you because they don't have enough people to take care of things. But then you've got we've had so much expansion of stores and growth here in Stark County. So those are also opportunities. And then customer service. Your customer service is also very, very needed.
It does seem that if you've got that skill, you are absolutely in demand. It seems like fundraising or customer service, you can always find, there's always openings for somebody good at either of those kinds of things. Well, the reason I ask about the mall is, and I'm guessing because we are in the winter months, so sometimes you do just want to, if you're going stir crazy at home, you want to go somewhere, and it's nice to be somewhere where there is a roof and walk the mall. I can remember how fun that was just when the kids were very little. We would just go walk the mall, even if we had no shopping in mind. But with all of the online shopping, I was wondering if the malls have gotten hit.
Malls have gotten hit. I think that all retail has a storefront has been hit. I think you cannot minimize the amount of impact that's had. You have more people that are, staying home and in their pajamas and saying, hey, I'm going to do most of my Christmas shopping right from my couch, and are very happy and comfortable to do so. So, it's the retail, the traditional is changing. So companies are having to become more flexible in how they, do their sell front, how they do sales in general, how they're dealing with employees, and being more flexible in their scheduling and being more flexible in just how they're working with people in general.
So both are true. There are retail jobs and more people are shopping online.
Absolutely.
Both are happening at the same time. Interesting. We see so much advertisement for hiring events.
Yes.
Tell me about a hiring event. What would that look like?
So, a hiring event or a job fair are two things that are both happening very frequently and more than ever. So, a hiring event might be a company having just at their location or at a neutral location the opportunity to apply for jobs working with that company. That's all they're going to be doing during that hiring event time is being available to be hired. So instead of you having to call and schedule an interview, you can walk in during that time and you're able to find out about the job and do an interview.
Should you dress and act as if you are going to an appointment for an interview?
Oh, absolutely.
Consider it an interview.
Consider it an interview. You don't just, I'm just going to go drop off my resume. Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You have to understand that if they're needing a hiring event, if they're having people that are going to be coming and applying for jobs, you want to look like you want a job.
And they want you to be able to start soon.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my question about hiring events. They take place during work hours.
They do.
So if somebody is wanting to change positions, do you take the day off and attend the hiring event? What do you do? How do you handle that?
That's a tough one. And it really depends on the job that you're doing now and the employer that's having the hiring event. Like how vested are you? I think that's something that's really important to do is if you know that an employer is having a hiring event, number one, you know they're hiring. So number two, this is a chance to make sure that you're applying with them. Going online, seeing how they are accepting applications. Are they only doing the hiring event? Are they doing something online? Are they accepting resumes? Information should be on the company's website. So make sure that you're doing that you're getting on the website, finding out how they're actually doing the hiring. The other thing you can do is even if you don't see anything on there, you can mail them your resume and you can follow up with a phone call. If people don't think about, okay, we do everything online now.
You can still call.
You can still call. It's still okay to send something in the mail. It's still okay to call and do a follow-up. Again, you're showing initiative. You're showing that you're interested, that you're sincerely wanting to be considered for a position. That means a lot. A lot of people don't make that extra effort. So this is important.
And it would seem also that this is somebody who currently works somewhere and they're interested in my job. So I can understand, I grant them a little bit of grace that they're not able to make it to my hiring event because they got a job. Yeah. but that they're interested in. So that might actually get my attention on this person a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there's always just a wealth of information with you. We are speaking with Amy Miller from Ohio Means Jobs, and we'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community. Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Amy Miller from Ohio Means Jobs. LinkedIn. I kind of think of it as the online resume, and I'm always curious to see who are these people that, first of all, I see that my profile showed up this many times this
Yes.
week, and this many people have been looking me up. Are they stalking, or are they interested in hiring me for something? What do all these things mean?
Okay, so think about LinkedIn as the social media for job searching. And what you're doing is you're putting your resume out there. You're putting information about yourself, you as a professional, and using that to make connections. Now, an employer who is using LinkedIn is able to go in, if they are trying to hire somebody, do a search by skills. And if your profile comes up because of your matching skills, then that employer might view your profile. So that's kind of where your profile's been viewed comes from. LinkedIn is great because it gives you a chance to connect with people. You know, we're not narrow in our touching people at this point. We're not just touching the people we work with. You know, we are able to make connections with a lot of different people. And in the past, other than your references, you didn't really have a way to show who you know, a way to expand kind of your connections, expand the jobs that are out there, because, you know, maybe I saw you, 5 months ago, Susie, but I haven't seen you since then. And how do I connect to you? LinkedIn gives people the opportunity to do that. And it also does some other things. Not only are you able to register or put your information on there, your friends and your coworkers and whoever you've worked with professionally can give you endorsements on things that they know you can do. So not only are you saying you can do it, but somebody else is saying that you can do it as well.
And people who also are ranked really high at that particular skill, they're considered very skilled, and they're saying you're very skilled at it. That carries some weight, doesn't it?
It truly does. Plus, they can write references on there. They can write, a recommendation right on your profile. So, wow, as an employer, that means a lot that I can look and see, oh, wait, I do have a connection to this person. It's a small world, folks. What is that, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yes, that's a thing.
Yeah, is really true. So you never know who you're going to be connected to. And as an employer, if I'm looking at somebody's profile and I do see somebody that I know that they're connected to, that I'm also connected to, that's someone I know is a quality person, I'm impressed by the fact that not only are they on LinkedIn, not only have they taken the time to cultivate a good profile, but they also have connections to people that I know are respectable professionals. And trust. Yeah.
So hiring is not so much a blind date anymore.
It's not.
That used to be so scary.
It really is.
What is an all-star profile, and how do we achieve that? Is that something we should all aspire to?
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds good.
It does sound good. A profile that's really going to grab somebody's attention and be a star. Number one, you want to have a picture. You think it's just a small thing, but it does make a difference. You're more likely to have your profile viewed if you have a picture. This is a professional social media site, though. So this is not where you're going to be making the duck face and, trying to be cute. This is a professional, yes. Then making sure that you are actually having your resume written out, having that information not just paraphrasing things, but making sure that you're actually putting that information on there. You've put a lot of work into having a quality resume. So you want to make sure that you have that same quality in your LinkedIn profile. Make sure you're taking the time to make that look good. And then make sure you're making connections as well. Don't wait for connections to come to you. Reach out to other people that you know that professionally and make those connections. So again, that shows that you've taken the time not only to put yourself there, but to show the connections that you have.
Something I really like about it too that could never be done in a traditional resume is you can link to your projects. So rather than telling people I worked on this project and we just were really proud of it, take a look at it instead. Here it is. Here is a link to that magazine. Here's a link to that website. Here's a link to that video, whatever that it is you worked on, and then they can actually see your work.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I was hiring not too long ago, and someone who I looked at was, first thing I do now when I get a resume is I do a social media check. So I look on LinkedIn. I look on Facebook. I do a basic Google search, see what I can find out there. When I looked at the LinkedIn profile, they had that. They had a connection to a website that they had connected. I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. I went out there so I could see the quality of work. I could see the fact that they knew what they were talking about. They not only were they saying they had the skills because I'm looking at it.
You're watching it, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So those are the things that are really going to give you an all-star profile.
We live in a wonderful day and age, do we not?
We do.
It's amazing.
Great stuff.
So we always think about the person who's looking for a job right now. It is, what is the unemployment rate is like ridiculously low right now.
Yeah, it's very low.
So it seems like everybody's got a job. So let's think of that other person right now, who's got some positions to fill, and there's no one knocking at their door because everyone is happily employed. How do we go out and find those people? Do we steal them from other people? How do we find them?
That does happen a lot, that employers are getting from other employers the positions. Sorry, Susie. Something that we really recommend is using the OhioMeansJobs.com website, because there are a lot of great websites out there. But you can find resumes on the OhioMeansJobs.com website, and it's free. A lot of the other sites charge a fee for you to do that, whether it's an initial fee or a by resume fee. You can do that searching using that website. And you can do it at any time. If you're an Ohio employer, you're able to get onto that website. So it's just another place to find resumes. Instead of waiting for people to come to you, you do the legwork and see if you can do that. But the other thing is that employers are still busy. They have things going on. So this is another opportunity that they have, that they can work with the Ohio Means Job Center and have a recruiter that works for them, that does that searching for them, and then sends them the individuals.
Use of headhunters, how is that these days?
I know that there are a lot of headhunters that are being used. As far as the quality, I think you really have to be careful.
Okay.
Be very aware for your profession how often headhunters are used, and what it's going to actually mean to use a headhunter. Some companies, that's the only way that they do it, and that's okay. But you want to make sure you know that in advance. Don't try and work with somebody and then think, well, wait a minute, I could have done this on my own, and now, that they've paid a fee for me, and maybe that affected my income, or maybe that affected my starting salary. You just don't know. So just be very, very aware of the company's hiring practices before you start utilizing a headhunter.
We're hearing that people are all employed, but they might be doing 2 or 3 smaller jobs. What does the employment landscape look like as far as full-time with a salary that somebody would only have to have one job?
It's making sure that you're taking the time to find those jobs. And it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, it's simple. But you do have to focus to be able to find those opportunities, because they are out there. When we went through the last economic downturn, a lot of what happened to people was that they lost good paying jobs, and they went back to work part-time or whatever they could get, and they've continued to stay in those part-time or
multiple
part-time jobs. This is a great opportunity now to take the time to see if you can find something else that is more of what you want, and is going to be one job where you're not stressed and you're not going to have to worry. And, again, there's a lot of job search sites out there. But, another thing that you can do that I think is really helpful is you can do searches on careers and do searches on companies. Ohio has, great databases of all the companies that there are. For your field, find out what companies hire the job that you're looking for, and then do a little bit of research on those companies. Don't just wait for the openings. I think that's really something that people get stuck on.
That's a good message.
They're waiting for those postings. They're waiting for it to come to them. Stop. Don't wait. Be active. Be your own advocate. You know what you're capable of. You know your skills. Make sure that you have a great resume that reflects that, and then be active in finding those jobs.
So go ahead and go to a company that you really admire and say, I just really admire you. Here's what I do. If you've got a place for me, I'd be interested in talking about it.
Absolutely.
That's kosher to do.
Oh, yeah.
Help me out in how to take a good inventory of myself to know what I'm best suited for. A lot of people have done a lot of variety of things. How do we pull all that together and say, wow, that makes a good whatever?
Yeah. You really have to look at, there's 2 different assessments that we recommend when people are coming into the Ohio Means Job Center. One of those is just a basic assessment that looks at your personality and the kind of jobs that are the best fit for, what your interests are. But there's a second kind of assessment, and that's a work values assessment. Remember I said earlier that everyone has different values for work. Mm-hmm. So Ohio Means Jobs has come up with this assessment that looks at not only what is important to you, what you like to do, but what means something. Maybe you want to have a lot of independence. Maybe you want to have a lot of structure. Maybe you don't want any of that. Maybe you want just complete freedom. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that the career you choose, the job that you choose, matches that. I mean, what a huge mistake if what I like to do is healthcare, and what I like to do is help people, but instead I'm going to be sitting inside all day typing because I'm going to do medical transcription. Mm-hmm. Well, wait a minute. That's not what I meant to do. That's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
So making sure that you're doing that, being active and figuring out, hey, this is what I want. This is what I value. And finding out if here in Northeast Ohio, are those jobs here?
And again, we've got the internet. We can look up companies and see if we can match those keywords, things that they value match up with the things that I value as well. What parting words would you give people right now of encouragement who are saying, it's 2020, I want to make a change in my life, and part of that has to do with my employment?
I would tell them that it's a great time to look for jobs. It's a great time to find a better opportunity for you. Do those things that are going to help you get jump started. Get a resume review, talk to your network, make sure that they're helping you out. Make sure you've got a good application. So when you're going online and doing those applicant tracking systems, which are how a lot of employers now hire, that you know how to work those, you know how to get your information across so it gets to human eyes. And make sure that you are using the internet to your advantage. These are all things that you can do. And if you're not sure, use Ohio Means Jobs because it's free for you to use. And, we're not job search experts every day. You and I are not. I am, but Susie,
you are.
I am.
I'm not.
But you're not a job search expert,
no.
And that's okay. You're not expected to be, because you have your skills, your knowledge, your abilities. So to then say, okay, well now you have to be an expert in job search when you're looking for work. Oh my gosh, how stressful!
Right, that's a full-time job in itself. It can be.
Yeah, exactly. So don't feel bad that you're coming to Ohio Means Jobs and that you're asking for help because. That's okay. That's what we're here for. That's what our skills are.
And let's get that message out. You are here for all of us.
Yes.
You are not here to help someone just find that entry-level something or get out of homelessness. Exactly. You are here for everybody who wants to make a career change.
Yep, regardless of your age, background, career, whatever it is, we are skilled in teaching you and helping you through all those different pieces.
And we appreciate you for it. Amy Miller from Ohio Means Jobs. Go to, what's the website?
It is omjwork.com.
Thanks so much for all you do in our community.